Frank Peretti night. Frank Peretti is Christian fiction writer. He's written these Christian fiction horror novels, and a few of them have been adapted into movies. This guy doesn't sound like all that bad. I mean, some of these guys we've talked about are just straight up really manipulative and deceitful and are just clearly exploiting the stuff. But as I read through this, I read through this earlier too, I'm getting the vibe that this is just the guy who grew up Christian and was fully aware that there was a bunch of Christian kids out there who wanted to read some sci-fi or some like supernatural fantasy type stuff, but couldn't. And he wanted to like fill that gap for them. But I very much get the vibe that this dude's like main goal was like giving Christian kids some cool sci-fi fantasy novels that they were craving because all their friends at school were into sci-fi and fantasy and they couldn't because they were Christian kids and their parents wouldn't let them. So this was like, here's a Christian version. And I'm guessing he probably recognized that lack, because I've seen that in other instances where, like with Christian music artists, they recognize that too. And they even kind of lean in on being like the Christian version of such and such artist or such and such band, because they know that there's a bunch of Christian kids out there who would appreciate it. Like KJ52 leaning in on sounding like Eminem absolutely knew that a bunch of his kid fans weren't allowed to listen to Eminem but loved KJ52 in a way because they loved Eminem. But it's like they got to listen to that similar flow in KJ52. Now, John Rubin was one of those Christian rappers I listened to. I thought he was really creative. I really liked his lyrics back in the day. I still do. But he kind of disappeared for a few years and wasn't making anything. And then this last year, he put out another album. There was a song on there called Secular Music where he's rapping about when he was coming up and performing at all these youth groups, fully aware that he was only successful because all of his youth group fans couldn't listen to secular music. And just like looking back on that and being honest about it, and how just also honest about how weird that world is. And so I feel like it's kind of related, because I feel like it's possible Frank Peretti was in a similar world where it's like he's writing all these books for these kids, knowing that they can't read these secular magic books. So let's listen to it. I think it's interesting. I'm gonna play it and then show you the lyrics too. Oh yeah, he's also very sarcastic. So the beginning chant is absolutely sarcastic and kind of poking fun at himself. Greatest Christian rapper ever.
Greatest Christian rapper ever. There I said it. I said it. I'm the greatest Christian rapper ever. There I said it. I said it. Oh, and I was always there for you when you couldn't listen to secular music. Secular music. And I would play your youth group, the alternative to secular music. Secular music. Sent away for pre-K to be raised by the fellowship. I guess it takes a village willing to live off the grid. Lost amnesia, pop culture reference. Well, I had no choice but to be alternative. Always had a bird's eye view from the pew. Always knew it's an odd place to try and make your power moves. How you gonna front when the church nursery's your green room and it's set times early cause the kids got curfews? We turn these absurdities into art. Every industry's got an apple cart. But these were the days when distribution meant that physical packages had to be boxed, sealed, and shipped. So I got a label and then got labeled. But I'm grateful cause that label made it capable to travel the globe and talk to the faithful. Never know where a song might take you.
I was gonna say, I thought this was interesting that got a label and then got labeled. and then it's like that label is Christian rap. And this is the case for so many Christian artists where it's like, you're doing your art and then you get an opportunity and now your label is Christian rap, and now you have to just stick with that label in order to succeed. And that's just what you got to do now. And he's like, but I'm grateful because that label made it capable for me to travel the globe. And what was also love this. All the youth Christian hipsters that I knew, this was totally the case, where it's like, Lost on Me is your pop culture reference because I can't engage with so much media that the other kids are engaging with. So a lot of references you miss. And it's like, so I had no choice but to be alternative. So I knew a lot of Christian kids where they couldn't engage with mainstream media because their parents wouldn't allow them to, because that's supposed to be the Christian thing to do. And so they became like this super alternative hipster who only listens to like a few interesting artsy things. And I don't listen to mainstream stuff. I don't watch mainstream movies. I don't read mainstream books, because you have no choice but to be alternative. Like I've seen that so many times. I think that's really interesting because it pretty much is turning like your shelteredness to make it look purposeful. Like pretty much saying, I actually don't want to read Harry Potter. I don't even know why you guys like Harry Potter. That book looks maybe you'll say that's like a kid's book, or that's like that's too mainstream or whatever. But in reality, it's because you're not allowed to. I had different pressure that made me miss out on actual references, but learn by proxy what references. But I never thought that pop culture thing, but that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people I know. Yeah. All right, let's go back.
And I was always there for you.
So all the youth group kids, I was always there for you.
Secular music. Secular music. And I would play your youth group. The alternative to secular music. Secular music. Well, I never knew a prophet who was in style. Dress it up and rebrand the profile. And I never knew a Nipsey who could hit the stage, throw their hands up towards the heavens and not take the praise. And if the cost of being relevant is two-faced, maybe stop taking money out the offering plate. Can't complain about them tables that need to be turned if them same tables done sold your merch. Well, from
that is one of my favorite lines of any song ever. Can't complain. I mean, like that reference to Jesus turning the tables. Like, how can we be like anti big establishment and complaining about the tables that need to be turned when the same tables of the institutional church establishment are selling your merch? Like, that's an interesting place to be in. I love it.
Maybe stop taking money out the offering plate. Can't complain about them tables that need to be turned if them same tables done sold your merch. Well, from the gospel came the blues and introduced us to, and ever since we've been trying to figure out our point of view with popular music. Popular music. Okay, white boy, you can make them laugh and maybe earn a spot as the opening act. You could spend your whole career trying to prove you're not whack. For a pat on the back, not bad for Christian rap. I'm the greatest Christian rapper.
Secular music
ever.
by John Rubin.
Said it. I said it. I'm the greatest Christian rapper ever. There, I said it. I said it. I'm the greatest Christian rapper ever. There, I said it. Not to be confused with the greatest rapper who happens to be a Christian, because there's too many of them to win.
Exactly. This was released in January of this year. He was gone for like quite a few years, and then he came back with that song and a few other songs. Yeah, that line. That line's good. Yeah, that line's interesting too. Like Chance the Rapper, and then also the inclusion of Lecrae into like these secular rap scenes have totally made Christian rap look totally different than what it was when these guys were like grinding, trying so hard to be taken seriously. But anyway, I was reminded of that song when I was reading through Frank Peretti's Wikipedia page, because it feels like a similar journey where it's like John Rubin saying, I was always there for you when you couldn't listen to secular music, and I would play our youth group, the alternative to secular music. Frank Peretti, similarly, I was always there for you when you couldn't read these secular magic books, and I would sell all these books to your Christian youth groups because you couldn't read these secular magic books. And so Frank Peretti, I don't know much about him, but from the surface, he doesn't seem nearly as like deceptive as a lot of Christian media types. But anyway, let me catch up in the chat. Instant Jollof. I had a huge superiority complex in elementary school because my parents wouldn't allow me to participate in the Halloween parade my school had. My parents told me that Halloween was the devil's birthdays, and by not wearing a costume and eating candy, I was a better person than all the other kids. That's real right there. That's so real. We had a Bible dress up day at church instead to stop the FOMO. I mean, that's what you have to tell yourself, or that's what parents try to tell their kids to make them feel better, or you have to tell yourself to make yourself feel better. I'm actually cooler than all these kids who are able to look at this stuff. It's like, who are able to read these books and watch these movies and listen to this music that I'm not allowed to make yourself feel better. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. I hated on Lil Wayne so much when I was in like junior high and a little bit of high school because of that. Same exact thing. I was a huge Lil Wayne hater. I was like, he's not even good. He could barely rhyme. And this is Lil Wayne's peak, Carter 3, the Carter 3 era. And I'm like, he's not even good. But in reality, I knew my parents wouldn't let me listen to Lil Wayne. Yeah.